Hello everyone, Mr. Sunshine, Rolls-Royce technician Eddie coming back to you live right here. And now here we go. We have another brake accumulator from a 1967 Rolls-Royce Silver Shadow. And we split it open, we pulled it all apart, we set it in a tank, cleaned it. We then polished it up a little bit here to clean it up. And now what we're going to do is go ahead and reassemble it. So what we're going to do right now, we're going to set the ring aside. We have to go ahead and put the valve back in here. So what we have here, we have a brand new diaphragm. We have all the parts and equipment to be able to rebuild this accumulator. So we're going to actually pull this. This is the diaphragm. This is what sits inside that diaphragm that separates the RR363 oil, the brake fluid, from 1,000 psi, 1,000 pounds of pressure of nitrogen. So what we're going to do, we'll go ahead and we're going to open up the little package here. We're going to get all of the parts out. We're actually just going to rip it open like that. And here we go. We're going to get these out. This is the O-rings that separates the accumulator from the brake valve. And what we're going to do, this is the brand new. Now the old style had the ball bearing. This is the ball bearing from the original one that Rolls-Royce used as the valve seal. They improved on it here. This is the new one here with the no ring on there. So what we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and we're going to install that down inside there as such. We're then going to install the spring. There's a spring that goes there. And then we're going to put the spring retainer. That's a spring retainer that holds on its concave there to be able to hold the spring into position. And we're going to get that right down in there, just like that. It's a nice fit, as you can see right there. And what we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and we're going to install the little snap ring. There's a snap ring that goes there. So what we're going to do is we're going to hold this down there like that. What we do is we kind of hold that in so that we don't lose the, in case it flies out, it's going to stay right here on that. And then we're going to use get my little screwdriver here. And we're going to use snap ring pliers. Either can use, as a matter of fact, we're going to go get those snap ring pliers. I have them sitting right here. And there we go. We got that little snap ring down in there, so that will lock it down. And now we have our valve. You can actually just push it right here to verify that everything's spring loaded, comes back up. So then that's where we're going to charge it to 1,000 psi. So we have that one done. And now what we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and install the diaphragm. This is it right here. This actually sits on there just like this. We're going to push it down in there. Now we have to make sure that this ring is completely cleaned here. As you can see, we have it all cleaned out. You don't want to have anything in this groove right here, so that when the diaphragm sits down in there just like this, it's going to sit there and be locked down just like that. Make sure it's down there just like that. And now we're going to put it in the fixture, and then we're going to go ahead and we're going to crank it down to 300 psi. So we're going to go ahead and set up the kit. I'll come right back. All right, so what we have now, we have it mounted here in the jig, and what we will do now is put a little bit of anti-seize on here so we can put this back together. So what we'll do is go ahead and take some of our anti-seize. This is anti-seize lubricant, and we will cover just the threads right here. You can see the threads inside here. We'll just give it a nice little coat here for anti-seize, so that next day, another 10 or 20 or 30 years, when somebody needs to take it apart, it won't be galled together. Now this is really cranked on. It's 300 psi on the torque wrench. We're going to show you the torque wrench. Got to use a very large one. Some of these that get galled on there, you actually have two guys, 250-pound guys, on a 10-foot bar cranking on it, that'd be like 5,000 PSI to split this up. So what we're going to do right now is I'll show you here just a moment. Get that stuff off. What we're going to do now is we're going to go ahead and lay this right on top, such as just like that. As you can see it, now we have the sphere together. We're then going to go ahead and put the ring down on there. The ring is going to sit right down on there. I'm going to go ahead and get it started a little bit. Now you don't want to move it too much, just enough to get it started, because what we need to do is we have to keep the top from moving so that we don't twist the rubber diaphragm inside and you're going to rip it in half. So what we're going to do is we're going to use one of our little stands here. As a matter of fact, we have two of them. As a matter of fact, we're going to use this one here. This is the mount that goes down, so we can keep this together just as such. We're going to turn that just enough to get it here. There, and then that will keep it from moving when we crank it down to the specified 300 PSI. So we'll go ahead and put the screw in here. This will hold it down. Oh, we gotta. You have to put the big tool on it first. So we're gonna put this on first. This is what we use to tighten it down. So what we're gonna do, we're gonna hand tighten it just a little bit, get the threads down there before it tightens up. Just as you can see, getting that anti-seize down there, just enough to get it loose. All right, now it's right about as tight as it's gonna go right now. We're gonna go ahead and put the tool in its position so we can tighten this down. As such, we'll turn this over here to get it into our position, right like that. And then we'll go ahead and tighten it down, and then we'll hit it with the torque wrench so we can get that down there. See, that's going to keep that thing from moving as we go ahead and tighten it. So we're going to go ahead and just tighten it with what I can here. We're going to loosen this back up. It takes a little while to do this because you have to take this off, lift the tool up, spin it back around to get it. So we'll have enough room to put the tool back on there, just like that. As such, there it is. Everything's this way. When you're going to tear it apart, you'll have it'll be lined up for the next person in 20, 30, 35, 40 years when you have to redo this again. All right, so what we're going to do now is we're going to go ahead and tighten this down with a wrench, and then I'm going to come back. We're going to hit it on the torque wrench, and it will be complete. Okay, what we're going to use now is we're going to use our big snap-on torque wrench. This is a torque wrench that'll go to 600 pounds. So what we're going to do now is we're going to go ahead and we're going to put this up on there, and we will go ahead and torque it down to the specified 300 PSI. So there it is right there. We're going to go ahead. It's going to be a little hard to hold the camera and torque it down at the same time, but we will come right back. And there you have it. We're torqued down to 300 PSI. So we're done with that. We're going to go ahead and pull the tool back off of here. Take that off just like that. And we will go ahead and pull it out of here. There's a nut on the bottom that holds the unit in place, so we'll take that off, and then we're going to go ahead and charge it. Okay, so what we're going to do right now is we have it all together. We have our tank. We're going to go ahead and fill this up to 1,000 PSI. This is a 1,000 PSI. It's a 3,000 PSI tank with a regulator for 1,000 PSI. So what we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and we're going to screw our charging tool on here, just like this. As a matter of fact, we can just pull this off. I'm going to screw this down just like that. We're going to make it nice and tight because we have a washer in there. It's going to add the pressure onto that so we can charge it. We're going to put that on. And we're just going to go ahead and just crank it. You'll be able to hear it fill up, and the diaphragm will expand, and then we will be done. So let's go ahead and put the air into it. There it is. Back off the screw. I'm going to go ahead and take this off now. Get a wrench. Screw that. And just like that, we go ahead and back this off. It's actually a little warm. There's just the leftover pressure that was in the hose. We'll go ahead and take that off. We're charged at 1,000 PSI. And now what we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and put the cap on. All right, we're going to put the cap along with the little tag here. And that goes on just like that. Now there's a little ball bearing. This ball bearing goes in there and it squeezes down as a secondary sealer. So we're going to go ahead and put that in there. We'll hold this straight up just like this. We will go ahead and put that little ball bearing right there. And what's going to do is when it compresses it down, it's going to squeeze that right down into there. So it's not only locked in from the inside, it's going to be locked in from the outside. Now you don't want to use any kind of lubricant on that. You just want to go ahead and we're going to just screw this right on just like that till it gets down. And then we're just going to go ahead and just tighten it up with a wrench to cram it down there. There it is. We have the O-ring down there. That seals it from the outside. That nylon bearing has already been compressed down into there, and we are set. Now, the other side here, we have a O-ring. O-ring's going to go right in here like that. Sits in there just as such. And then what we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and we're going to install the brake valve. This is the brake accumulator valve, which screws on right onto the top of this just like this. So we're going to go ahead and screw this down as such. Get it down on there until it hits that bearing. We're then going to put it, and these get tightened down. I'm gonna tighten it a little better once we put it in a vise, crank it down, and there it is. Completed unit, ready to ship back out to the customer. We'll wipe it down one more time before we get it out of here, and then we will be good to go. I hope you enjoyed the instructional tutorial video. If you have a Rolls-Royce or a Bentley that has this type of braking system, give me a call, 561-693-8636. We can rebuild your units and ship them right back out to you. We're using all brand new Rolls-Royce crew parts. All right, again, pick up the phone, 561-693-8636, coming to you live right here. Rolls-Royce technician Eddie in sunny South Florida. Thank you for watching.